Amulet D20 Twitch list breakdown review. We got LazzaM13, who is playing My Little Pony. Fantastic name. Also, this better have a ton of horses. Let's have a look. So, we have a Mounted Noble Lord with Oliphant's Roar, Tourney Champion, Art of War. I have seen this combination before. It's going to be run in a big Household Knight bus. And how many buses and Household Knights do we have? We have 4. Okay, not bad, not bad, not bad. Probably want one more, because you want to get the most out of Oliphant's Roar. Tourney Champion giving +2 impacts to the Mounted Noble Lord and using it as more of an impact tool. Good choice. Art of War, for a 30-point upgrade to give you just a dead draw, is 100% worth it. I wasn't really seeing it when I was making a 100k list, but after experiencing it, you're going to be using it being like, I just Art of War whenever you want. Just get the character on the table. He's probably going to come in on turn 2. You're going to be fine. This is going to allow you to just pick your own personal pace of the game. If for some reason you just need to stall for like one extra moment in your list construction, or not your list construction, your command stack, it's available to you. If you just need to like dead draw for a while, it's available to you. If you're kind of like trying to bait something out, once again, it's available to you. There's tons of opportunities with this thing to get things going. Art of War, fantastic upgrade. This whole brick with the Household Knights being veterans and everything, they're just going to do really well. They're going to be Clash 4, Terrifying 1 with their Impact 3 at Brutal 1. They're going to do a ton of damage, and hopefully they can charge Clash. This is a feudal orders list, so once again, all the characters, all the command stands who are feudal are going to also be orders, what's also going to give them Flurry. Mounted Squires, men-at-arms on horses, what can I say? You know, you spend 20 extra points, you go to speed 9, you also get Tenacious 1 against shooting because you're a vet and have Opportunist. There's no reason not to hate you. You're actually a really solid unit. Double men-at-arm units. These guys are either going to be used as back-end objective scorers, what's A-OK and fine. They're 110 points. They're perfectly set up to do that. Or, as the game goes on, they might be used to like peace trade or set up a trade in your favor by just sacrificing them so that another horse can get in there and do that damage. Out for our next warband, we have the prior commander of the Crimson Tower. He's in a 5-stand brick of Order of Crimson Tower. This is going to be a ton of damage on the March charge. He's also got the Lorien Lance to re-roll those impact attacks on the prior commander and gets them up to Brutal 3. So there's going to be a lot of damage on the March charge. The regiment's also going to get +1 impact up to 5 on 5 of these guys. So it's going to be 25 dice, plus another 4 at Brutal 3. He's also going to be Line Breaker on them. This is going to be really scary coming from downtown, like 15 inches away minimum. This is your big hammer. Players need to be very wary about this. A way to counter it, though, is to just March charge something into it, tie it up, lock it down, and then kind of bog it down and kill it. Order the Crimson Tower defensive stats make it a little difficult, but it should be doable. They're not, invincible or anything. They're just more resistant to, like, small arms fire kind of thing. So putting something dedicated, like, using one piece to bog it down and then putting a dedicated hammer into it will probably kill it off very efficiently. Or putting in some very good peace trading MSUs into it, you should trade up or wound it enough that it's kind of neutered and not as effective. And then finish it off later with either with some shooting or with something else that is making its way across the table. The next thing in the list is 5 Stands of Ashen Dawn. Here we go! People love 5 Stands of Ashen Dawn, so much so that 10 players at Adepticon 2 years ago has brought, I think, 88 stands worth of Ashen Dawn. It was insane. The return of 5 Stands of Ashen Dawn, this is going to be your pick turn 3. This is your big-ass anvil. You're going to run them in a line, or you're, as wide of a frontage as you can. They are basically going to march charge in, so you set that line of engagement. And if your opponent is foolish enough to ever get charge clash by them, you're going to be doing a ton of effective work. Bless is going to keep stuff off. If you can protect their flanks and not let your opponent jump on them and do a ton of damage from multiple sources, Bless is going to just like carry you through. They're basically going to be invincible. You do have to watch out for spell casting and shooting because they are susceptible to that, even with their phenomenal stat line of D4 and R5. Love me a big block of Ashen Dawn. Then lastly, we get into a Noble Lord, Armored Dominion, Weapon Master, Grateful Companion. This gives him Cleave 1 in like 6 attacks. Armored Dominion is no smite, no cleave into his unit. He's got 5 stands, a Household Guard with an Arms Master, getting up to Clash 3. They're also going to be professional troops, so they're going to be Support 3. And I believe he did not... Yeah, so Clash 3, Inspiring to 4. That's perfectly good enough at Cleave 1, Support 3. from this brick. He's either going to run them 2 or 3 wide. That's going to be really solid. But overall, this has a lot of nice things into it. I played something very similar years ago, and what tends to happen is it's a lot of point investments into like 3 or 4 big things, and you can't be everywhere all at once. So what this list kind of needs to do is to pick a side of the table, play a heavy decline flank, and just kind of push through and windshield wiper your way across the table. Your opponent, to kind of defeat this, has to make a heavy play into your weak side and stall you out on your strong side for them to win. If you misplay how you do your horses, like the House of Knights, the Crimson Towers, the Ashen Dawn, in which order, they can be caught off guard and bogged down and killed, was something you don't want to do. You got to make sure your positioning is also in the right spot, that you can get through various gaps in your line that you have generated and made for yourself, so that you can get your Crimson Towers march charge into stuff that is fighting the Ashen Dawn, and you can do a ton of damage and hopefully wipe them off and then push the Ashen Dawn up the table more and claim that board space, claim those zones, score to win. This, I like this list. This is kind of like a far callback to like the early versions of version 2, where stuff like this was played a lot. It should do well. It's got a lot of damage in like 3 or 4 units, but the thing is that it does not have a lot of board presence, so it's going to have kind of a rough time for that. With that, I hope LazzaM13 with his My Little Pony army does very well. I think he can do it, but he's going to be kind of playing probably on the back foot, but Art of War is going to help him out with that. Let's get into the next list.